That's a horrible way to start a live stream. But it's live, pal. I read a horrible book. It's an omen. This was crap, in my subjective opinion. I'll try to vocalize why it was bad. Let's start with nothing happened. The mutants went from Krakoa to a rock otherworld. Otherworld. That's all. That's where we left us. You thought there would be a fight? Mm-mm. You thought there'd be cool sword on sword action? Mm-mm. That's not what happened here in Stasis. I was having a good week too. I no words. You got these places. One of them is upside down where you got to turn your page, which is kind of cool. Trick that happens, but like, who cares about the political landscape of Iraq? I keep saying that, of Otherworld. Not me, because I don't read Excalibur. Because one day there's gonna be, what's that background noise happening? I hope you guys can't hear that. What's going on, Captain? And just hate reading a book, talking about a book I hate read. I hate read. Um, it was where was I? Where was I? Oh, the political landscape of Otherworld. I've been reading comics for a long time using Marvel Unlimited. In real time, I've only been reading comics like the last 3 years. But in that like 20 years of reading comics in the X-Men, Otherworld barely ever comes up. It only comes up in Excalibur, and Excalibur is a book that gets constantly canceled. So I don't need this knowledge. It's not going to benefit me at all. I think when this book is over, when this event is over, when an Excalibur's done and Teeny Howard is off the book, Excalibur will be canceled for another 5-6 years until someone comes back, because nostalgia. It's like Kanye West was saying in the podcast about there's the 2+2=4 formula. I think Joe Rogan said this part, and then Disney's just gonna be like, yeah, well, it works, so we'll do it again, and there we go. We get another Excalibur book. So this page here, this very final panel down there, that's them in Krakoa, and then they get taken away, and they're on their heels and they're ready to like start a fight. No one was there. There will be no fighting in this. Instead, we're gonna learn more about death and penance and all of these Apocalypse's children. And there's 10 of Apocalypse's children. 10 of these people who we were expected to and be invested in. The Shi'ar Death Commandos are people who they also expect me to be invested in. I barely know their names, just like I barely know these guys' names. There's a crocodile one. I think his name is White Sword. Iska the Unbeaten, Death. The Wife, Fire, or War, and Summoner. Those are the names I remember. I remember about half of them. But remembering is half the battle. I also know that these characters are not going to be built on, because when Howard and Hickman are gone, let's give them 3 years. The new writer who gets on here is going to have his own fresh ideas, and he's going to be honoring the stories of what he read as a kid and Chris Claremont's run and the X-Men animated cartoon. He's going to be using those mutants because he has that vision in his head, he or she. And then this story that I read will be dropped. Like remember how the Children of the Vault came up? And it was amazing that Hickman was honoring Mike Carey and Umberto Ramos. It was amazing because that never happens. Hickman is the exception, and I guess he's expecting other people to play by this rule, or this commendable practice to take books that happened, even if they weren't the most popular thing, but just expanding on them. I don't see that happening for any X-Men story 10 years after it comes out, because the new writer didn't grow up on it. So anything, when did Bendis pick it up? 2013? Yeah, like Bendis, if Hickman ends in 2023, anything after Bendis, like X-Men Gold, X-Men Red, the Rosenberg X-Men, Disassemble, the Age of X-Men, none of that is getting built on, getting furthered, getting expanded on. You get what I'm trying to say? I'm just using different words to get the point across. But the events that happen in this book when this writer is gone will not be focused on and have the attention of the writer. He's too busy doing what he believed in. Unless you're like great, like Donny Cates or somebody who's honoring Bendis' story about the planet of the symbiotes and honoring Jason Aaron's stories about All Black Necro's sword. And Donny Cates is awesome. He's like the exception to the rule, which is why we love him, which is why I love him. One of the reasons I do. What was I saying about Excalibur? Back to this book. Back to this book. There's a big reveal at the end, which we're supposed to all be shocked at because the person with that mask unmasks and dun dun dun. It's actually the wife of Apocalypse. It's Genesis. But who else was it supposed to be? There's no other person I know in Araco that could have been. Didn't have many options. And since they'd spent time to introduce me to Genesis, I knew she was gonna end up being the one behind the mask, and whoop-de-doo she was. So even the surprise, the final page wasn't anything special. There was a whole bunch of pages about tarot. I don't care about tarot. They're really trying to push this tarot shit on me. There's even a tarot mutant with white pages. I tap. That was probably really loud for you, I'm sorry. But I tap on this event. I read 3 books. I thought the first one was valuable. I thought X Factor furthered the story. Then they came Wolverine skippable, X-Force skippable, Marauders skippable, Cable skippable, New Mutant skippable. It's whatever one I'm forgetting was skippable. That's how skippable it was. And then finally, when they all get their swords and they assemble, I expected some action. I did not get that. I got knowledge on how these 10 first mutants operated. Thumbs down. And I was having a good week. I was playing the new Crown Tundra. You know what's crazy? I was in the Isle of Armor, and a Sharpedo was chasing me. And it caught up to me, and I was upset, but it was a shiny Sharpedo. And I caught that shit with a Premier Ball. And that Sharpedo that's shiny is purple. And I'm thinking, Lakers just won a title. I got it in the lake. It's got Lakers colors. I'm nicknaming it Anthony Davis. And because it was enough characters, but the problem was it was a female Sharpedo Pokemon. And so I gave it the nickname Genie Bus. It was really good. Sasha Banks won the title at Hell in a Cell. Sasha Banks is going to be in Mandalorian that's coming. There's an election, and it looks like I'm not happy that Biden's winning. I'm just happy Donald Trump is out. And for anyone if there's any Trumpies in here, I'm happy that the human being who had protesters spray gassed so he can walk across the street to a church he doesn't attend to, hold a Bible up upside down. I'm happy that guy's gone. That's why. What's going on? Stasis, a period or state of inactivity or equilibrium. Oh, so I was supposed to know that it wasn't going to be an eventful moving and shaking comic. That's a very strong point, though. Well, still, I was not entertained by the political BS. This is how Otherworld works. These are the realms, and how do you feel about this? And what are your feelings, man, who was just attacked by the Arakans? Like, he's not gonna matter to me in 11 chapters of this event. Nah, bro, don't check out. Look, they got some fans in here. I appreciate your fandoms, but you can watch this in a replay, the first 8 minutes of this review. But I was not a fan of this. I hope I vocalized why without using my complaining voice. I think I did a couple times, but I tried to pull it back. But that's how I felt about this comic. If you loved it, more power to you. Support what you like, and then they will keep it around. Unlike Arrow, which they didn't keep around. Because similar to how they introduced 10 of these mutants, these 10 of Swords mutants, they kind of threw Arrow, Swordmaster, Wave, White Fox, new characters at us, Io and Crescent. It's better when you concentrate who I should be focusing on. Give me that, and maybe I'll care more. But when you divide my attention you also divide my care. Ooh, that was great. I think I should end this review on that note. This live review, which I never do live reviews enough because this is cool. Seeing Casey Johnson chime in and say some people have been waiting for that info. You guys are offering alternative takes to mine, which is why I opened this up to the live. But I bid you adieu. That poster is definitely coming down. Goodbye. And good night. Bang. Kenny Omega outro. Ooh, Kenny Omega.